Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
Exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Well, welcome everybody. Happy Independence Day and Independence Day weekend for our new listeners out there. It might shock you. Today's show might shock you. You might have tune into the program to hear me rah, go America, Team America, World Police, fireworks, all sorts of good stuff. Well, not so much. Not so much. Independence Day it's unfortunate. It makes me feel blue in some ways. Hey, we're doing our annual Markowski barbecue tradition. We do the 4th. We do Independence Day at our house. No fireworks or anything like that. But, lots of good food and good times for everybody. And I do really enjoy that ritual without a doubt. I mean, going back to when I was a kid, getting to the car with the family, going over to my Uncle Buddy and Aunt Jean's house and swimming in their pool all day, playing wiffle ball later on in the evening, going to downtown Albany to watch the fireworks show. It's great memories. Great memories I have of Independence Day. So you might be asking, what the hell's your problem, Markowski? What is your beef with Independence Day? What's your beef with the 4th of July? Actually bouncing it back and forth in my head of just not doing this show. Just taking it off, not doing the program simply because I do get people hot and bothered every single year when I do my Independence Day show. I take a look around. I take a look around the country, and this year is obviously much, much different than other years. And I see people, and they're dressed up, and they're waving their flags, and all sorts of good stuff, and they really don't understand what freedom is, what independence is. And I make the argument, and I've made the argument for a long time. I'm not the only one. Another one of my favorite radio talk show hosts of all time felt as I did. Neil Bortz, he's retired now. Felt very similar. I said most people have no desire to be free. They don't want to be free. You take a look at those people that are destroying things in the streets, rioting, breaking things. Do you think they really want to be free? They want to be free to destroy. They want to be free to tear down statues. But do they want to pay for their health care? Do they want to pay for college? Do they want to pay for their housing? I mean, if it was up to them, they would have somebody else take care of all of that stuff for them. They have no idea what freedom is about. They have no idea what Independence Day is about. So, yes, I would say that I'm a bit of an Ebenezer Scrooge as far as Independence Day is concerned. And this year, without a doubt, it's hitting me harder, much, much harder than other years. And again, I know that there's been very turbulent times in our not so distant past. My parents lived in Newark during the Newark riots. I've spoken to people that lived in Detroit when the riots took place there and what happened there. There's been tough times in this country. There is. But I have never seen I've never seen it so much where we've got so much this idea that Marxism and communism is the way to go. How many people out there ask themselves a question? I mean, you're watching the news, you're seeing what's going on, and think to yourself, you said, if something really terrible happened in the world, if a God forbid, some sort of world war broke out, could we fight? Would we come together as a society? Would we be able to do that? How many people out there have been asking themselves that question? I remember after 9/11, okay, New York City resident. At the time, one of the things that we did here on the program is I would go out. I would go out every single week, and I would go out and I would buy hundreds of NYPD, FD New York hats, and I would, random people that would sign up for a free consultation at our website or sign up for our newsletter, I would send them one of those hats. And as a nation, people rallied around the first responders and what they did. Take a look what's happening around the country right now. What we're doing to our first responders, what we're saying about our police officers. Of course, not all of them are good. We know this. I shouldn't even have to say this on the program. I mean, we've been lauding doctors and nurses working on the front lines of COVID. Are all doctors and nurses good? No. Of course not. But the vile things that I see spray painted about police officers, only good cops, dead cops, I'm like, are you kidding me? I do think that we're at a point in time right now where, and I've talked about this, and again, I'm going to get into America and the problems of America. And it goes back to my watchdog on Wall Street, axis of evil, big business, politicians, and the mainstream media working hand in hand to further their own needs. How many times here on the program I've talked about, walking and having to go into downtown New York, the financial district, and seeing American flags flying in front of a myriad of different big banks down there. And I laugh because they have no allegiance to America. Many of these big multinational corporations, not all, but many of them could really give a damn about America. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care about freedom. They don't care about Independence Day. Look at how many of these corporations bend over backwards to please China. Yeah, did you see that shipment that they just seized? Now, it won't make major news. Boxes and boxes and boxes of human hair. That's right. Being shipped to the United States, coming from forced labor camps and concentration camps in China. Well, no, we can't upset them because they spend a lot of money on NBA basketball. Or we allow them to censor our artwork. Our artwork, movies, television shows, must please them first, right? Who do these corporate heads, who do they really, if they had their own pledge of allegiance, do you think they pledge allegiance to the United States? Do you think that that's what they care about? The country around? They don't care. They can move their money to Macau. Move it somewhere else. Get on their jet and leave. They don't care about this country. And that's something that people really need to understand. We made some serious mistakes over the past 20, 25, 30 years. The country's changed. Country has changed. And we here on the program have pointed it out. We here on the program pointed out the financialization of America. They repealed Glass-Steagall, allowing for all of these big financial supermarkets to exist. We've got a generation of really smart kids with high IQs that went to school, that should have been doing something else with their lives, that are now creating assets out of thin air. And when I mean assets out of thin air, Wall Street can create an asset out of a cockroach race. They can. They don't build or create anything. They move money from one end of the room to the other and take their cut. I own a financial company. I'm telling you like it is. We've been telling you like it is for a very long period of time. We've gone off on corporate heads. These big corporations, I'm CEO of this. What did you build? What did you create? You manage. And more often than not, you know what they manage? The stock price. Have to make next quarter's numbers so I can get my bonus and shares, which will vest in, I don't know, a year or two, and then I'll sell them, and then the company will buy it back in a stock buyback. Look at all of the factories that we've offshored. What? So we can, rather than spend $9 on a T-shirt, okay, we're now spending $6 on a T-shirt. Was it worth it? Was it really worth it? Was it worthwhile? Was the right thing to do for the country? Huh? I know what we're told again and again and again. Oh, this is great. Consumers love this stuff. Consumers love this stuff. More cheap crap. But a month ago here on the program, I've got to go ahead. I've got to follow through with that. Got to have a watchdog on Wall Street, Buy American bumper sticker on my car. I check. Do you? Look what they did. Did it benefit the country? Well, the globalists out there will tell you, hey, well, consumers like it. Hey, it drives prices down. It makes things more efficient. Consumers love it. Yeah, I'm sure that small town in New England where half the people are now addicted to opiates, they loved it too, right? Having their factories shipped overseas. See, on Independence Day, and again, you read the Declaration of Independence, which is an absolutely beautiful document. And I strongly suggest you reread it. And you know what? Have your kids look at it. Have your kids look at it. And take a look at that and go back and think about what these people did. What they did, what they sacrificed. You understand? These were wealthy people. What they sacrificed, what they were risking, what they were giving up. So we could live in a world where we could succeed beyond our wildest dreams. No matter what walk of life you came from. We forgot that. We've discarded that. And it's a shame. Hey, listen, I'm on my kids this week. I'm being honest. I am. I've been all over them. They're taking Hillsdale classes. They're reading this stuff. Listen, you have to do your job. Parent, grandparent, whatever it may be. Stop whining and complaining about what's going on with the country and do something. And where the best place to do something, the best place to start is within your family. Within your family. And if it means confronting little Miss or Mrs. Smarty Pants who went off to Oberlin or some liberal arts school that's telling you how great communism and Marxism is, you're going to have to do something about that without fear. That, of course, if you want to continue to have Independence Day celebrations. Going to take a quick break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Our newsletter consultations with our certified financial planners. We are here to help you. That's what we do. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Get there. We also have a phone number, 800-471-5984 is our 24-hour-a-day help hotline. Don't go anywhere. I am just loaded for bear today. They say it can't be won the way the game.
taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
A little 1980s Don Henley. Yeah, I'm just getting warmed up, kids. I'm just getting warmed up. I things that I watched, that I saw this past week, my jaw dropped. I don't understand. At what point in time did we allow the kids to take over? No, nothing, children. No, nothing, children. Oh, my kid goes to an Ivy League school. They're so smart. Your kid doesn't know crap. Give me a break. Let me see people that have actually had life experiences, that actually built things and created things. So last Sunday, I'm not a big cable news fan at all. Last Sunday, I'm sitting down, I'm reading some papers in the morning. My wife has got Fox and Friends on. And she's watching this. She's like, Chris, can you see this? Can you see this? I'm like, I don't want to watch this. And it involved a Republican state house candidate by the name of Robert Regan in the state of Michigan. Now, this guy goes out and he says he's a big-time conservative. Big time. I guess he put out there that I am right of Rush Limbaugh. He's a big-time conservative. Well, his daughter put out a tweet that racked up, 100, 200,000 follows, whatever that means, retweets or views. I don't know. I'm not the Twitter guy. And basically, she told people not to vote for her father. If you're in Michigan and 18 plus, please, for the love of God, do not vote for my dad for state rep. So the dad comes out. He addressed his daughter's statements. He put out this thing saying that I am happy that she feels confident enough in our relationship to express her opposing thoughts so publicly, while encouraging her and others to voice their own opinions. Hey, Robert, I'm calling you out here. Listen, you're not a very good parent. Sorry. You're not a very good parent. He goes on in his tweet and talks about how kids go off to these liberal colleges. His daughter went to the University of Colorado at Boulder, and he talked about the University of Texas at Austin. And they go to these liberal things, and they get sucked into this Marxist communist ideology. And we don't see eye to eye now. Hey, Robert, you see, you claim to be right of Rush Limbaugh. Let me tell you something about communist Marxist ideology. It's a death cult. It's a death cult. Why would you allow your daughter to go to a place where she is going to be immersed in communist Marxist ideology? Or if you're going to send your kid to that school, you might want to check to see who your daughter's professors are and what classes your daughter is taking at that school. I know I will. You think I'm going to allow that to happen in my house? Do you think I'm going to send my kids off to some school / cult to have them indoctrinated with a death cult? You just allowed your daughter, and you said it's okay. Oh, no, it's not. It's not my daughter's fault. It's the school that you paid for with your hard-earned dollars. You sent your daughter to that school. Why would you do that? Parents, why do you do that? I'm asking you. Why do you do that? Why not pay attention to what classes your kids are taking? You allow your kids to come back like this? Are you out of your mind? Hey, you know what the terrain is, okay? And yeah, okay, colleges and universities have always had a leftward slant, even back when I was in school, but not like it is today. At some point in time, you're going to have to start owning it. And you're going to have to start parenting again. The kids don't run the show. You do. Oh, really? You believe in communist Marxist ideology? Well, how about this? How about you pay for your own damn school? Oh, and while you're at it, Okay. Oh, you're coming back to my house? Guess what? You're over 18. You've got to pay rent. Why don't you go out there to, find your little commie Marxist friends and figure out how you're going to go about paying for this, huh? Come on, people. How do you allow this stuff to happen? Oh, God, whoa, kumbaya with my daughter. Yeah, right, yeah. Michael Corleone, let Fredo know. Never take sides against the family again. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Again, our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, all sorts of great stuff at the site. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
There is a right and there is a wrong. Well, I'm not a tyrant. I have a great time with my kids. I coach my kids' teams. I talk about this all the time on the program. Some of my new listeners out there. But if my kids have some far-flung idea that they heard about from some rapper, and they bring it to the dinner table, they happen to bring it up, I'm going to squash it. And I'm going to be Socratic about it using logic and reason. Because guess what? They're kids. They don't know crap. Yeah, I am in perpetual learning mode, constant reading mode all the time. And you know what I realize, and everybody should kind of recognize this, the more that you learn, the more that you pick up, the more that you recognize you don't know. And all of these, we got all these kids, these overeducated kids, and they go to their carnival cruise, which is college. It's basically a carnival cruise. With the fancy dorms and the espresso machines and all that good stuff and the rock climbing walls and the safe spaces and the nap rooms and all that stuff that they do at colleges and universities today. And they think that's the real world. And mommy and daddy drive around. Oh, look at Junior. They're off at Fancy Pants Liberal Arts School and they got the sticker on the back of the car. I must be a good parent. No, you're not. If your kid comes back a commie Marxist, you're not a good parent. Sorry, you failed. You failed, in my book. Anyway, I know some of you people will be like, I can't believe this guy owns a financial firm. Look at all of the Democrat left-wingers that he's insulting. You want newsflash here? I've got quite a few clients all over the country that are left of center. Oh, yeah. How's that possible? Well, first and foremost, I'm honest, and we do a very good job. And the people that I have, they understand. And again, it's an agree to disagree thing. It's a philosophical difference when you break down the left and the right. And again, I had this conversation twice this past week with clients that are left of center, and we're talking about the upcoming election and talking about taxes going up. And one of the lines I'm kind of quoting, paraphrasing to some degree, is, I don't care. I will pay more taxes. I just want to keep the riffraff away from my house and where I live. And that's what I hear a lot. And this is where we fundamentally diverge. Okay? I've said this before in the program, where you get other big-time talk radio show hosts out there that could squash me like a bug. Guys like Limbaugh, they're huge. And they talk about their faith in the American voter. And I believe in the American voter, and the voter is smart. I'm like, no, I'm sorry. I don't believe in the American voter. I think most people out there, quite frankly, are dumb. How is it that more than 40% of the country can't name who the vice president is? How do you say that we're bright when it comes to this? A greater population can't even tell you who their two senators are from their state. You think we've got a smart populace out there? We got a smart voting bloc? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. And the idea, and I've explained this before here on the program, people on the left, liberals, there's two kinds. There's the ones that do not like freedom, that want to be taken care of, want to be provided for. They want somebody to tell them what to do. They don't like making decisions. They don't. And to me, that's sad. That's sad. It's a sad state. And then there's the other type of liberals who treat all of these people that want to be taken care of. They say that they're dumb, and it's their job to take care of it. It's almost like they're rescue dogs, human beings as rescue dogs. And they want to tax, and they want to spend, and they want to throw money at the problem, and they want to ignore it. See, I don't believe in that. What are you saying? You just said you thought a lot of people were dumb too. I do. But I think it's our job as a human being, and this is part of my faith and who I am, it's our job to lift these people up. Someone that's put themselves into a prison, that doesn't want to make decisions, that wants somebody to take care of them, I don't believe that they're going to live a very fulfilling life. And I think at some point in time, you've got to try to convince them to break out of that and to utilize their God-given talents and to go out and build and create and participate and not be one of those, the sheep that's just going to follow along. I don't want to pay higher taxes to throw money at a problem that I know it's not going to work. I want to solve the problem. We want to solve it. We want to lift these people up. We don't want to keep them down. And again, that, my friends, is the difference. That's the difference. I've got some very, very, very wealthy Democrat supporters, voters, contributors to campaign. And I know how they think. They tell me how they think. And this is where we agree to disagree. They think I'm nuts. They think I'm an idiot. They're like, you're an idiot. That's an exercise in futility. You're going to do the same thing over and over again, and you're not going to get anywhere. You're wasting your time. You're not going to do that. No. I can't believe that as a human being. I can't. And that's where the difference is. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Again, our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, all sorts of great stuff at the site. Don't go anywhere. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
I'm not kidding. I'm not. I was thinking of a way that I could kind of point this out, and this breaks down to race as well. And I find some of the thought processes of the people on the left in relation to race is some of the most racist nonsense I've ever seen. There was a Saturday Night Live skit that I thought about this past week. This is going back to, had to be 1983, 1984. And one of the Saturday Night Live, one of their greatest comics that they ever had was Eddie Murphy. And he did this skit, and I went back and I watched it this past week, and I was thinking I should maybe play it on the show. It's like 5 minutes long, a little bit too long for radio, where Eddie Murphy starts talking about problems of race relations, a lot of talk about this stuff in the country. So what I decided to do is to he dresses himself up, uses makeup, and puts on a different mustache and goes out and pretends he's white. And the whole skit is he first goes into a store and he goes to buy a newspaper and the guy gives it to him. So I noticed that when white people are alone, white people, they give each other everything for free. And it was this whole ridiculous thing out there. And it was really funny. It was kind of like I'm going behind the scenes, a black man as a white guy, to see what white people do when black people aren't around. He's on the bus, and the last black person gets off the bus, and all of a sudden party breaks out on the bus, and cocktails are passed out and all sorts of stuff. It was hilarious. You know what? Maybe you should try that. Maybe some of the black leadership out there, the ones that really care, that really want to see change, that really want to see people lifted up, you're going to have to maybe, get some makeup on, put white face on, and hang out with these liberals. Because then, get a couple cocktails in them, and they will tell you what they think. And they have no interest. They have no interest in repairing these communities. If they did, why are they not repaired? Why is it the same places? Why is it that I got to wake up with a knot in my stomach after, knowing that I'm going to read a death total that comes out of the inner city of Chicago, and I got to read stories about babies and children being shot week in, week out. You tell me you can't fix that? You tell me just throwing money at it's going to solve the problem? Nah. Breaks my heart is what it does. Have to take a break. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. All right, I went off on my rant for a while. I got to get into some rip-offs and scams, some financial planning stuff. You know what we do here on the program. But, again, we're different. We wax philosophical. I guess that's why we're the longest-running financial program in the country. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Become a part of the family. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You should believe in math, not magic. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Now, I grew up about, now about 2 hours back when I was younger. When the speed limit was 55, it was probably about 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes outside of New York and upstate New York outside of Albany. And I grew up a Yankee fan. Giants fan, and basketball, Celtics. Just the way that, just the way everything fell. But anyway, being a Yankee fan, people either love the Yankees or hate the Yankees. There's no in between. We have another team in town called the New York Mets, as you may know. Now, Mets fans more often than not hate the Yankees. I don't hate the Mets. I don't hate the Mets. I feel sorry for them a lot. But I don't hate the Mets. But anyway, I had to give a little dig. I had to dig all of my my friends who are Mets fans this past week because July 1st, people, you know what July 1st is? It's Bobby Bonilla Day. Remember Bobby Bonilla? He was a star for a while. The Mets gave him this ginormous contract, and he didn't play well. And what's interesting is they released him. They released him in 1999. I think Bobby Bonilla retired from baseball in 2001. Mets released him in 2009. And in 2009, the Mets still owed him $5.9 million on his contract. So what the Mets decided to do, again, this is in typical dumb Met fashion. Sorry, Mets fans. They decided to do a deferment of that $5.9 million. So Bobby Bonilla gets on July 1st every year up until 2035, $1.19 million. I'm not making this up. And you got to be saying, whoa. How does that work out? Deferred payment, 1999 to 2035. How is it that he gets that much money? I'll tell you how. The Mets agreed to this, or Bobby Bonilla agreed to the deferment as long as the Mets put 8% interest on that money a year. Now, why would they do anything so dumb? Why would anybody do anything so dumb? Well, guess who was managing the Mets' money? Bernie Madoff. I'm not kidding. Again, most people don't know this story. Bernie Madoff convinced the Mets to give him that $5.9 million and much, much more because he could show a much better return. Sure, do that. Give him the 8% a year because you know what? I will show you a better than 10% return a year. And the Mets agreed. Dum, da, dum, dum, dum. Again, if the Wilpons, the people who owned the New York Mets, went to our website at watchdogonwallstreet.com or thought to pick up the phone and give me a call, I would have told them they were idiots because, as my longtime listeners know, we knew that Madoff was a scam. We warned people that it was a scam. Yeah. Before it became trendy. Before Ken Langone went into his office and said, this guy's a scam. Something's not right here, and walked out, and then the guy couldn't keep the Ponzi scheme going any longer, we knew. That's what we do. There are a lot of crooks out there. We've been fighting crime for a very long time here on the program. And I'm going to be honest. We lose. What do you mean? Fight crime, you lose. Well, we warn people. We tell people. We can't make them listen. Now, do I think if the Wilpons called us up and said, hey, Chris, what do you think about this deal that we're doing? You know, we're going to, rather than pay Bobby Bonilla the $5.9 million, we'll pay it over this amount of time. And then guess what? We're going to make more money on this. I would have told them no. Do you think that they would have listened? No, because they were working with Bernie Madoff and he was showing him that level of return, more than 10%. How was he doing it? Illegally. It was a scam. Taking other people's money and giving it to them. Eventually, those things blow up. Have to address this, too. Again, I am no fan of the big brokerage firms and the big banks. And again, no spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down here on the program. If you have an account, if you have a big bank and a big brokerage firm managing your money, you've got to screw loose. There's something wrong with your medulla oblongata. I don't care if it's Merrill Lynch. Doesn't make any difference. They're all the same. It's the same crap. And I saw this, and I was like, jeez. It was Wells Fargo is now telling its advisors that their clients that have accounts, with less than $100,000 in them, they're only going to pay their advisors 10% of the commissions and fees that they generate off those accounts, and 20% on accounts between $100,000 and $250,000. Which does what? Do you think that the advisors are going to even want to help you out or do any sort of business with you? Hey, what, you think they're the only ones? Shame on them. And this is one of the things that people fail to understand about what we do here on the program. We don't care. We don't treat people with sub $100,000 accounts, $150,000, $200,000 accounts as second-class citizens. There's no velvet rope at Markowski Investments. I can't stand the anal sphincters that do stuff like that. But they do. They do. Oh, sure, every now and then they got to make their quote or whatever it may be. They may give you a call and move some stuff around in your portfolio so they can pay the coffee bill. But why would you want to be treated like that? Get the help you need. Get the financial advice you need. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. Our newsletter. Consultations with our certified financial planners. All sorts of great stuff at the site. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. Well-known author, investment banker, consumer advocate, analyst, trader. Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
You want answers?
exposing the lies and myths that the big brokerage firms, the mainstream press, and the government are pushing to keep Americans away from financial freedom.
You can't handle the truth.
Bringing America the truth about what really happens in the financial world.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not here to indulge in fantasy, but in political and economic reality.
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Yeah, I want to be clear. Okay, I want to be clear. I know maybe sometimes I go over these things, and maybe I've been doing it for so long, and maybe I kind of go through it too quickly so people do not understand what the big banks and big brokerage firms do, unless you are a big player. See, they want to find more ways of making money off clients. They do. Now, back in the day, they, it was more of a brokerage thing. They could churn and burn smaller clients, just do tons and tons and tons and tons of trades and generate all sorts of commissions. But we don't live in that world anymore. Commissions have come way, way down. A lot of it's based upon fees. And again, if you have an account that's worth, let's say, $100,000, and say our fee for that account would normally be, depending if it was just primarily just fixed income stuff, some retiree, it would be next to nothing. Let's say it's 1% if we're actively managing that account. Well, again, to a big bank, they don't want to even deal with that person. They don't want their advisors speaking to those what they call them? It was a word I learned. I'm not kidding. This is a word I learned back when I first started on Wall Street. Piker. A nobody. A loser. And back then, again, you were told to churn and burn those accounts way back in the day. They didn't care. Well, during the dot-com boom, Morgan Stanley decided to buy the Piker firm. I actually heard this. The executives at Morgan Stanley, we're buying those Pikers over at Dean Witter. And we told you why. We warned everybody why they were buying the Pikers at Dean Witter, so they could sell all of their large clients, their big players, sell their garbage.com stocks off. Sell their garbage.com stocks off to all of the Pikers. Somebody had to be left holding the bag in the end. And over the years, I've watched what the various different firms have done. I watched Merrill Lynch tell all the brokers, okay, listen, your smaller clients, we're putting them all off to a call center. All off to a call center where you have some unqualified idiot answering the phone, putting the clients into garbage mutual funds at high commissions and fees that the people wouldn't see. And I can go on and on and on. Firm after firm after firm. Year after year. Now again, hey, listen, I'm not going to lie. Not going to lie. You walk in the door at Merrill Lynch and Morgan Stanley or Goldman Sachs, and you've got $15, $20 million. They're going to talk. They're going to be excited. They're going to find different things they can do with you. They can generate all sorts of fees and income off of you. You're going to get taken care of. I mean, even let's be honest. I mean, even at Goldman Sachs, you need a greater amount of money than that. It's a lot more. It's a whole different world. Again, quite honestly, do we have clients like that? Yeah, we do. We do, but they're the types that didn't have the ethical bypass at birth. Those are the people that I like to deal with. Ethics. Ethics come from what? Morals. Either you have them or you don't. And if you don't, I suggest you get some. Because whether you like it, I don't care how much money you make in life, you're going to end up being miserable. Deep down inside, you're going to end up being miserable. So yes, everybody out there, there's no minimum here. There's no minimum. we will help you. That's what we're here for. And there's no other firm like it. There's no other firm like it. We are that efficient. That's how we go about doing this. No. Okay, listen. And to the people out there that like your local guy that's going to take you golfing 4 times a year, 4 times out for dinner. We don't do that. We don't have time. We don't have time. We're too busy tending to our clients. That's what we do. I'm up every day at 4. Next week, I got to start getting up at 3. Because supposedly, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, lacrosse practice is officially really supposed to start for our club teams. We'll see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, meaning more hours of my day are going to be taken up. I'm going to have to get up a little bit earlier. But no, we're not in the business of entertaining. We're not in the business of golfing. I have to learn how to play golf. I don't even know how to play. We just don't have the time. And we like it that way. It's who we are. Anyway, we don't need these lengthy BS. You ever read the mission statements? I wrote a column about this. I'm getting off the beat track. I'm all over the place today. We wrote a column about this, a few years ago, where I went through and I looked up the mission statements of these big banks and these big investment firms out there. And again, I read these things, and they're such BS. Such BS. Our clients' needs are the best, well, we put them first and all this stuff. No, you don't. You never have. You're all publicly traded companies. What you care about is your bottom line. And this is a disconnect. Companies, businesses that offer a professional service, lawyer, accountant, money manager, advisor, should never be traded publicly. Companies that are traded publicly, the CEO, the people in charge, have a fiduciary duty to increase shareholder value. So the people at, I was making fun of Wells Fargo. You can go through a bunch of them, all of them. Their job is, and they feel that, you know what, screwing over our smaller clients is going to better our bottom line. That's their thought process. Because they want to make their stock price go up. Because they have to do the right thing by their shareholders. You cannot serve 2 masters. Our clients' needs come first. Period. The end. No questions asked. That's it. Anyway, moving on. I got to talk about this too. Twice in the past 2 weeks, Wall Street Journal op-ed pages, do we have people coming out writing op-eds and, basically cheering on and telling everybody how wonderful private equity is in this country. And private equity has done such great things for our economy and to make our economy strong and created value. What a load of bunk. The one this week had a couple professors from one was a law professor, and the other one was an entrepreneurship professor at the University of Chicago, which is a great school. But spare me. The information they put out, most private equity firms, and they you know what the funny thing is? They say, well, you can't talk about the fees. You take the fees, you pull them out. If a company is worth $100 million in 5 years and a private equity company takes over, it's worth $120 million. Well, guess what? That's good for the economy, and that's money that can be invested elsewhere. Go sell crazy somewhere else. Okay? It's the private equity guys that are pocketing that money. Not to mention the fact what they basically do is they strip mine the economy. They don't care. Sure, will a company every now and then come out more efficient and better? But what about all the ones that they destroy? Well, it's worth it if they can just save one. It is, huh? Again, go sell crazy somewhere else. They don't lose. This is a problem. These private, it's a riskless transaction to them. They will take the money out of the company. If they fail in making the company better, then they'll make a fortune when that company's in bankruptcy, sucking it dry. They are vampires, for crying out loud. And again, you watch these companies, the slow death that they're on. I mean, I watch it. We've covered this stuff here on the program. How long has Kmart been dying? How long has Eddie Lampert and his gang been sucking that company dry? And he's one hell of a vampire. He keeps taking more and more out of that company little by little, and he hasn't fully killed it yet. But I'm tired of hearing this stuff. Again, this is what happens. These people come on, and it's like they're trying to pull some sort of Jedi mind trick on the general public. Use your head. Private equity today, and again, I wrote about this back, 2004, 2005, ripping into it. It's not the private equity from back in the 1980s. Completely different. Completely different deal. Hey, what a great movie is watching is, it was about the RJR Nabisco takeover, Barbarians at the Gate, and the efficiencies that KKR brought in to, in the end, to the RJR Nabisco company, and all the corporate planes they got rid of. And again, they did a good job. Today, it's not about that. It's not about that. It's about destruction. Destruction. And hey, maybe if the company, who cares? They're not rolling the dice. They don't lose. Quickly on this story, too, got a couple questions about it via the email this past week. And the wire card fraud, this German payment company, $2 billion just wasn't there. $2 billion just wasn't there. I'm not kidding you. The accounting firm missed it. Yeah. They missed it. Ernst & Young signed off on Wirecard's books. Yeah, remember Arthur Andersen, Enron? How does $2 billion go missing? And actually, this is bigger than Enron, quite honestly. You don't check to make sure that the money is actually there. You're just taking their word for it. Great accounting firm you guys got going there. Fantastic. Anyway, watchdogonwallstreet.com. Watchdogonwallstreet.com. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners, all sorts of great stuff. Watchdogonwallstreet.com. We'll be back.
Bringing America financial freedom one listener at a time. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. I'm not a believer in destiny. If that makes any sense. I'm trying to get this across. I don't believe that our story has been written. I believe that we write our own story. God has given us free will. The media doesn't seem to feel the same way because they write the story. I've gotten into narrative and narrative building. And what they do. They sit in conference rooms and they discuss how an issue or a story will be handled. And they all do the same thing. One of the most frightening things I saw happening in journalism went back. I'm trying to remember the exact year. I can't. Remember they used to have chat groups back in the day. I gotta look this up. There was a chat forum called Journalist, and this is where the heads and the editors of the major publications and television shows and cable news networks would go to basically decide how they were going to cover a story, what the narrative is going to be. They were writing the story, what was going to happen. As you can see right now across the entire news spectrum, the story is that we're all going to die of coronavirus. We should all be scared. We should all stay at home. We should all hunker down. Things are terrible. Be afraid. Be very afraid. That is the story. That is the narrative. Anything that goes against that, any doctor, any epidemiologist, whatever it may be, they're never brought on. Nobody ever speaks to them. They appoint the high priests. And when I'm talking high priests, I'm thinking, Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom, Thuggy Cult, Kalima, they're pulling the heart out. They appoint the high priests. They appoint the Lord Farquaad's, the Faucis, and whatever they say goes. And if you try to enter into any sort of debate, Socratic debate, or ask an intelligent question, you are shot down. You're shot down. I had a simple question this past week. I was saying to myself, I said, how big is this virus? And I look at the size via microns and how small it is. And I'm saying to myself, wait a second. These masks and this stuff that people are putting over their faces, the holes in that material are bigger than the size of the virus. So can't the virus get through? Now, I asked this question a couple of times. No. You got to wear a mask. Aren't you the slightest bit curious? Now, people who live in Florida, who had lived in Florida, you might understand this. In Florida, because of the insects in many areas, you have your back lanai and your pool oftentimes screened up, preventing the mosquitoes to get in. But there's this one type of bug, they call them no-see-ums. It's like a flying pair of jaws, for crying out loud. It's tiny. It can get through a lot of these screens. And you'll be in there, you're like, ow! And you can't even see where you're getting bit, for crying out loud. Well, that's just my thought process. Is that not an intelligent question that I put out there when it comes to masks? I think it is. It's my curiosity. I don't know. I'd like an answer. Can I get one? No, because I will be shot down. Can't ask that. You can't ask that. No, you just, again, do what you're told. Do what you're told. Shut up and do what you're told. I don't care how many times we contradict ourselves. I don't care how many times we contradict ourselves or come up with arbitrary rules that don't make any sense at all. Shut up and listen to us. Yeah. Because I said so. Because I said so. How many people had adults ever say that to them when they were kids? But why should I do it? Because I said so. That had to be one of the most frustrating things to hear as a kid for me. Just explain it to me. And I told this here on the program. Whenever I'm having my kids do something, whenever I'm coaching kids, whatever, I explain to them why we are doing a drill. There's a reason why we're doing this. How many people remember those toys when they were out? I don't even know if they still have them. There was like this plastic, almost wheel-like thing. And you'd have a little pointer. And they had different ones, but they have the barnyard one where you would pull the string. And if the arrow was pointing at the cow, this is a cow, moo. And then you could point the arrow at a horse, pull the string. This is a horse. Everybody remember that? It's almost like we have like a Dr. Fauci wheel right now, where you point it at something, you pull a string, and he comes on and says, 100,000 people are going to get it. Did you see the media this past week? Fauci says that if we're going on this path, 100,000 people are going to contract. We're going to have 100,000 new cases a day is what he said. And I'm saying to myself, whoa. Oh, this is news? Didn't the CDC earlier this week say that the amount of new cases is about 10 times what is being reported? So if at 30,000 cases, there's actually 300,000 a day? They didn't report on that. But no, every media source, 100,000 new cases a day. Stay home. Stay safe. Yeah, sure. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street. Taking Wall Street's liars, crooks, and cheats out behind the woodshed. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Yeah, not just Wall Street's, just all in all, our nations. Let me tell you something, people. I hope one of the things, you know, it's again, I tell this to kids. I said when I coach, it's almost like they call it the Rick Pitino style, and he obviously got it from somebody else. I don't stop a practice. I don't stop a practice and go off and you know, make the kids stop and talk to them for 5 minutes about something. It's short 10-second bursts of coaching that I interject from time to time. And if the kids can pick up 10% of what I try to get across in a practice, I think I've been successful. If I can get the listeners of my program to come to the realization that the people in charge of this country are idiots, I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled. You see, the conventional wisdom, this is the media, Watchdog on Wall Street, Axis of Evil, big business, politicians, mainstream, all working hand in hand to further their own needs. They're telling you that these are the best and the brightest. Do you honestly believe that the best and brightest are running this country? You also believe that the best and brightest are all Ivy League graduates? Because I'm here to tell you, okay, some of the biggest idiots I've met in my entire life graduated from Ivy League schools. Hey, I know I got a lot of Ivy League grads listening to the program. No offense, okay? No offense. I know many of you have actually done something with your lives, okay? But you know it as well as I do. And these are the weasels that end up coming and getting into power. Now, where am I going with this? Where am I going? Well, I'm just going to tell you how bad these wizards of smart, Lord Farquaad's, high priests, are. And I can give you countless examples of the smartest of the smart, the best of the best, off the top of my head. John Corzine. Oh, yes, so smart he was in charge of Goldman Sachs. So smart. Oh, yeah, all those guys, they're so smart over there, Goldman Sachs. You know what they're good at, these finance guys? Moving paper. That's it. Moving paper, creating assets out of thin air. If you'd ask them to go out and start a restaurant, do you think they'd be able to do it? Start a real business? No. They could never do it. They're phenomenal. They're in finance. Do you ever think about what does the word finance mean? What's it become? What does it mean? What exactly do you do? What exactly do you say you do here? Ask them sometime what they do. Finance. Well, John Corzine went from Goldman Sachs to being a senator. Then he went to be the governor of New Jersey until Chris Christie beat him. Then John Corzine went back to MF Global, which was a huge financial company. It was one of the biggest busts of the financial crisis, and it had nothing to do with the financial crisis. John Corzine decided to commingle client funds with firm funds. It was one of the largest commodity trading firms in the country. He took it down. He didn't do a single day of jail time. Now, people who start in a back office at an investment firm, one of the first things they teach you is you don't commingle funds ever. But he did. He's an idiot. But everybody tells you how smart he is, how bright he is. Hey, listen, okay? He's got the mansion and the yachts and all that stuff to prove that he's smart. Let me tell you something. That doesn't prove that you're brilliant. It doesn't prove that you're smart. It doesn't. Let me give you another example. I'll give you a couple this past week. Phil Murphy, another ex-Goldman Sachs guy running the state of New Jersey. He goes ahead and tells all the restaurants, okay, you're going to open up at a certain time. You're going to be able to open up at a certain time. Phil Murphy, okay, you're going to do that. So what does the restaurateurs do in the state of New Jersey? What do? They go out. They go out and they start getting stuff. They start hiring people. They start ordering food. They start doing all the things that they're supposed to do. And guess what? He changes his mind. He changes his mind. No. There's too many coronavirus cases out here. Sorry, we can't do it, guys. What do you mean? I just ordered all of this food. What am I supposed to do? Return it? What an idiot. The guy doesn't understand business, nor does he care. Take a look at the city of New York. They same thing in New York. They were going to open up restaurants. Oh, no, pull back. Broadway. They came out and said, nope, no Broadway shows until January. Really? Really? What do you think is going to happen to all of those establishments? All of those establishments there in around Times Square in the theater district. They're done. They're done. The place is going to end up looking like I Am Legend with Will Smith, the zombie movie. Nothing there. Well, you think these places are going to be able to stay afloat? You think New Yorkers go to eat in Times Square, in and around the theater district? No, not unless they're going to see a show. It's over. You just signed a death sentence is what you did. These are the best and the brightest out there. And they'll tell you. I remember being in a meeting with the head Goldman Sachs analyst, retail analyst. Oh boy, he was pedigree. He probably had a third after his last name, and he had some super waspy name. He was probably a member of all the North Shore golf and country clubs, all sorts of good pedigree there. Went to the Ivy League schools, and he's now the head retail analyst at Goldman Sachs since the 1990s. And I'm striking up a conversation with him. He actually, my skin's pretty dark for him to be talking to me. But anyway, he strike up the conversation about Walmart at the time and asking him about it, and he had never even stepped foot in one. And again, this is part of the education of Markowski. You are? You've never been inside a Walmart and you're the head retail analyst at Goldman Sachs? Okay. Anyway, Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. Our newsletter, consultations with our certified financial planners. Become a part of the Watchdog on Wall Street family. Watchdog on WallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Anybody here see the noise, see the fear and commotion?
This is the Watchdog on Wall Street.
Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. As many of you've realized, I made the decision this past year. I bouncing around back and forth to get back and started doing television appearances again. I used to do a ton back during the financial crisis and even prior to that, but especially I was every day CNN, CNBC, all of the various different programs back then. And I made the decision, you know what, I'm going to try again. Well, I left because I got frustrated. I did. I got frustrated with many of the anchors, the questions I was asked, the short segments that are out there. I've been doing some more, and some of the programs I've been going on, and we post them on our website. They're all up on watchdogonwallstreet.com. They've gotten a little bit longer. They have. But I'm being honest, okay? I'm a radio guy. I think that if a story is important enough, you ought to give it time. And maybe you're not going to be able to get to everything. I don't care if the show's an hour or 2 hours or a 3-hour show on cable news. If you're going to have a discussion about something, have a discussion about something. But more often than not, it's like, what's his name there? Teddy KGB in the movie Rounders. I feel so unsatisfied. I never get to finish my point or where I want to go. And this is why I like doing radio and I like doing my podcast daily. And this past week was on, and they wanted to talk about the Facebook boycotts that were taking place. Because, again, if you're reading the mainstream news, and business news out there, oh, my God, the sky was falling. The world is going to end for Facebook. All of these big companies, they're pulling their advertising. It's terrible. And the stock price took a hit. And they always love putting Mark Zuckerberg lost X amount of billions of dollars over the past couple days during to this. Because, again, one of the narratives out there is Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. Keep pushing that agenda. Keep pushing those Nazi communist jerks in that group, because that's what they are. They're Marxist, communist, Nazi types. Okay, that's who they are. We're pushing that agenda right now. It was all a farce. It's all a fake. Fugazi. And we'll explain when we get back. I don't have to go on to another block, right? I can keep going on the topic. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. WatchDogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street. The only man who is taking on the Wall Street establishment. You're listening to the Watchdog on Wall Street with Chris Markowski.
Oh, the Clash. Welcome back, everybody. It is the Watchdog on Wall Street show. All righty. Yeah, so the narrative this week is that, oh, my God, look at all of these corporations, and they're pulling their advertising from Facebook. Yeah, but if you actually take a look in the details, it was all for headlines. Again, these are just major corporations doing their little virtue signaling. That's all. They'll be back. Oh, they pulled their advertising for 1 month. Oh, so they'll double it next month. They're all full of crap, okay? But again, these are executive CEOs of companies, and they say, well, gee whiz, we don't want to have the barbarians at our gate. We don't want to have the barbarians at our gate, and we've got to signal that we are down for the struggle right now, even though we could give a damn. And we will talk. They don't do, they talk. That's it. Words, not actions. We talked about this last week on the show. So, yes, they're pulling their ads for a month. Oh, I remember Unilever. Unilever, which owns Ben & Jerry's. Oh, they were out. Oh, we're pulling our advertising. Yeah, just in the United States. Yeah, just in the United States. The rest of the world, they're still buying ads on Facebook. Oh, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, look at all these companies. They're pulling their ads. Yeah, right. They'll be back next month. Oh, one of them said, well, we're not going to come back to the end of the year. Facebook's advertising has grown over 32% on average over the past 2 years. Since remember the Cambridge Analytica thing back in 2018? Remember that? Do you know how many users they added since then? 400 million. Greater than the entire population in the United States, the amount of users they brought on. Again, it's nonsense is what it is. Like most of this stuff. I mean, people, do you think that these things, these shakedowns that are taking place, you get these guys every other day going on CNBC telling you all the things that they're going to do to promote diversity and hiring and all this stuff. Haven't they said this stuff before? Haven't we heard this before? Oh, we're going to spend X amount of dollars. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're going to pay some groups off here and there. But this is not a new racket. But you remember Rainbow Push? Jesse Jackson will threaten this company. He'll threaten that. We're going to put these people out in front of your place, and we're going to protest. Okay, here's a check. Shh, quiet. Here's a check. Go away now. Just a shakedown. That's all. Facebook will be just fine. Okay? They'll be just fine. All right, I have to talk about. We got to get into schools a little bit, shall we? I found this fascinating. And again, this is sad. One of the nation's richest, wealthiest liberal arts schools. Very difficult to get into. Very difficult. Very good school. I recruiting my son for lacrosse. Williams. They said, you know what? We're not going to play sports this fall. And it may continue for the rest of the year. That's right. They're not going to do it. Listen, I told this to, I mentioned this on the podcast this past week. You got a kid. I use football as an example. You got a kid who's on the Williams football team, and they have a very good Division III football team. Very good. Outstanding. Let's be honest. Your kid's playing Division III football. He's not going on to more often, probably not going to go on and play in the NFL. And all of us that played football, whether it be at high school and college, we all know that, yeah, you might play some pickup games in the backyard, touch, when you're older, but your days of playing tackle football, when they're done, they're done. Enjoy it. If Williams, you're going to pull the football program, okay, you know what? I'm not paying tuition. I'm not going to go. We'll wait. We'll sit out a year, and we'll come back when we can play again. Again, you only have those 4 years, okay? Get yourself a job, get another experience. I'm saying don't give it up. Don't give it up, because you're going to remember when you played. Either that or transfer. I know it's a great school. Many of you are not going to want to do that. But no. If you're college, university, in-person classes, don't go. Don't go unless the tuition is next to nothing. It's crazy. Now, you're talking about this right now. There was this past week, the American Academy of Pediatrics strongly advocates that all policy considerations for the coming school year should start with the goal of having students physically present in the school. We went over this last week on the show. Distance learning has been a disaster, an unmitigated disaster. I don't care what the teachers' unions, I don't care what the people in charge are saying, it's been a disaster. Kids need to get back to school. More often than not, they're asymptomatic carriers. We know the numbers, okay? We understand the numbers. They needed to be back in school. But let me tell you what I see. I go look into my little crystal ball. What's going to happen? Oh, yeah. The teachers' unions are going to start saying, well, wait a second. I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe going back in the classroom. You're making me go back in the classroom, and I don't want to go. I might be, if I go back, I need to be compensated more. I need hazard pay to be teaching kindergarten. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. The teachers union, they're going to come out and they're going to start asking for hazard pay and all sorts of other stuff, okay, if they're going to go back in the classrooms, which is going to be another issue moving forward throughout the rest of the summer. Anyway, I got a little bit more on school stuff we have to do as well. Don't go anywhere. You are listening to the one, the only, the Watchdog on Wall Street Show, longest running financial program in the country for a reason. WatchdogOnWallStreet.com, WatchdogOnWallStreet.com. We'll be back.
Chris Markowski is the Watchdog on Wall Street.